Obviously, winning the whole thing it does a lot for a team, and we have 18 guys here. But for me specifically, I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to walk around, and even just in the O-line groups, like, you know, you have Trenta, you have 6 of us here. Like, there's always a familiar face around, and you know, we even hang out with each other at nighttime before we go to bed. Like, it's just nice to be able to lean on those guys. You know, in a high stress situation, I guess if you want to call it, and just like kind of talk to them through things, and like, because everyone's going through the same stuff. But I think having them here is really beneficial for all of us. But just for Michigan itself, I think, like, you know, I think AJ said the other day, but like really no program, you know, develops people and prepares them for the NFL like Michigan does, and I wholeheartedly believe that as well after being there for just, you know, 1 year. So. What made you decide on Michigan when you transferred? So, what was that? What made you decide on Michigan when you transferred from Stanford? Yeah, I mean, I knew they had a lot of guys coming back. You know, Zinner, Blake, JJ was coming back, obviously, because he was a underclassman. You know, all the defensive guys. I mean, and then Olu was leaving, so it was kind of like a perfect fit. And I went on my official just to hang out with the guys, really. And I knew immediately that I could be a part of the room, and they're my kind of dudes. So I really enjoyed my time with them, and I knew that we were going to have a hell of a year as soon as I got there.
What do you think Michigan does right in terms of preparing for the NFL? I think a lot of guys in Michigan win 1 year.
Yeah. Just from like an X's and O's standpoint, like I think Coach Moore did a great job. I mean, he was obviously the OC too, so he kind of knew what like we were going to call and stuff. But I think he did a great job of like giving us the why of why we're running certain things versus certain looks, like why we're doing like certain drills to prepare ourselves in the week for the game, and just kind of like just make like almost like giving us the tools like into his head of like why he's calling certain things. And I feel like he almost turned us into offensive coordinators ourselves in a sense, just because of how he approached each meeting and like coached us up during those meetings and stuff like that.
You're probably pretty glad he became the biggest coach.
Oh, I was so happy for the guy. Like I was sitting in my room in Dallas, and like everyone kind of knew it was going to be him, but like just to finally see him, you know, get that title was awesome. You know, all credit to Coach Harbaugh too. Like he did a great job, but you know, Coach Moore earned his stripes like crazy, man. He was always in the room working with us. He was always in the film room late at night, early in the morning. You know, he's definitely earned it. He's a Michigan man, and you know, I can't be more happy for the guy.
Hey Drake, Roger Rosengarten, your hometown guy, said he did you pretty well. What was it when you guys beat him the national title game? Did you rub it in at all, or what exactly?
No, I mean, I was gonna go over and say hi to him, but you know, they were probably pretty sad. So I saw him with his teammates, and they're just like kind of talking to each other. So I didn't want to get in on that moment. That was kind of their time, you know. But yeah, obviously I've known him for years. From high school, we played against each other, I think twice, my junior and senior year, and then I followed him all those years when I was at Stanford and he was at Washington, and like it's been great to watch him, you know, turn into the player he is. I got a lot of respect for him and how he does his things and how he handles his business on the field. So it's been great to, you know, come up with him.
How much is a sense of pride in
Yeah, it's pretty wild actually. Like, I mean, you can only start 5 on the offensive line, right? You know, I think it's just a credit to who he was, the whole room. You know, not just the starting 5, but you know, Trent Jay was a 6th man. He had to deal with that big wide tight end role the first 3 quarters of the year, and I think he did a great job with that. You know, and it was his time to shine. Like he came in and kicked ass for us, and it was you know, all credit to him and, you know, the rest of the room for getting us right too. Even all the younger guys, you know, holding bags, you know, giving looks, things like that. Like it all adds up over time and throughout the year for us to go out and win the whole thing.
Maybe it doesn't matter, but it helps a little when you can look at Zach or clear your face and guys get together and maybe the edge off being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just explained that a couple questions ago, but it definitely helps a lot. You know, just kind of leaning on each other in, you know, high stress situations, and when, you know, when you're really at the biggest job interview of your life, you know, it's kind of nice to have them all here with us.
Drake, you mentioned explaining why you guys. How's it been for you to kind of set the tone for a program?
Say that one more time.
You mentioned explaining why you guys. How does it feel kind of set the tone for a program?
Yeah, I think it just creates a lot of trust. You know, especially for me going in there, like I was a new guy learning the offense, especially the center. I'm making a lot of the calls, but he still gave me he still trusted me a lot to make the right ones. You know, he kind of gave me the reins to, you know, kind of direct that line a lot, which I loved a lot. But I think it just all built on trust, and the guys there love him to death. They all trust him. They trust his play calling. You know, even all of our trick plays. Like at times during the game, like he would just throw out trick plays versus like Purdue and Indiana, and when we're up like 21 points, you're like, hell yeah, you know, like it's just creating moments like that where guys like are into it and loving the game and, you know, playing for the guy they love. So. Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, I obviously grew closer to the Lions this past year with how they've you know, how they come up and, like, you know, their gritty mentality, and that's kind of what we do at Michigan as well. You know, I never really grew up a Lions fan because I'm from Denver, but, you know, after living in Michigan and like being around a lot of Michigan guys, like, you know, the Lions are a hell of a program. I love Dan Campbell's, you know, persona, his grittiness. You know, always got a dip in or something like that. You gotta love that. You know, but yeah, it'd be awesome.
Drake, speaking of
yeah, you go home.
Speaking of Denver, have you met with the Broncos?
Yeah, I did informal with them. Nothing crazy. It was just, you know, just kind of getting to know me, why I transferred, stuff like that.
Did you grow up a Broncos fan, and what would it mean to potentially play for them?
Yeah, it would mean the world to play for the Broncos. You know, especially now they got Sean Payton in there. I mean, I love Denver. I love the Broncos. Always been a Broncos fan my whole life. So I mean, it'd like a dream come true. The Raiders I met with, Commanders I met with. These were all informals the other day. Falcons, Patriots, Chargers, a couple more I forget, but it was a lot. It was a lot going on that morning. Yeah, I didn't meet with him. I was meeting with the scouts downstairs, but I know some guys were meeting with him. And I talked to them like, "How's Harbaugh up there?" They were like, "I love that guy. Like he's just a football dude. You know, he gives off a great impression." Even the guys who were just meeting for the first time that I've talked to here in the O-line group. So you know, it's great to see him here and obviously have another familiar face and someone pulling for the Michigan guys at the next level.
Drake, how do you envision the Michigan offensive line this coming season?
Sorry. I think they're going to do great. You know, they have a new transfer coming in from Northwestern. You know, Cripp's coming back. He's going to take hold of all the calls and stuff. You know, I think over this past year, especially, like I didn't think I played in the fourth quarter until like the 7th or 8th game. You know, I definitely got them a lot of game experience. Even if they were nervous, I don't think they would be. But you know, even if they were nervous going to a game at all, like now they've got that out of their system. You know, I think now they're just going to go out there and kill it for us. You know, Miles is coming back. Like he has some game experience. Gentry too. Percy, I think, is still there. Gio, you know, they got a lot of dudes there that are gonna keep that strong O-line tradition going.
Drake, you haven't even walked with yourself?
I have not, no.
What makes Drake Griffin ready for
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he's been ready for it for years. But I think just the fact that he's stayed there shows a lot of character for who he is as a person, who he is as a player, and how much he loves Michigan too. I think that those three in itself shows a lot what he's been able to do and willing to do for the program. I think so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he just kind of just says to trust the process. He does a good job of kind of like letting me figure it out for myself, to be honest. But yeah, he's always just like kind of there for me when I want to complain about something or like, you know, I got something to talk about, or, you know, he's always making sure I'm taking care of my body. Yeah, I think those are kind of the main points he's given me over the years.
How would you say Griffin's game is different?
Griffin's game is different from my own, I think. I think we play pretty similar in some aspects, but I think in certain areas, like, you know, hand placement, I think he's very balanced. I think he does a good job of keeping his feet in the ground, driving guys off the ball. He's a really technical guy too, which is always good to have at center. You know, he's not really lunging too much. Like, I mean, everyone has bad plays. I mean, I have plenty of them this year. You know, it's whatever. But I think he does a great job of really a lot of things. It's kind of too hard to name specific ones because you don't really know what he's bad at. So, yeah.
Have you thought about playing with JJ in the NFL and what's the growth that he made from start to finish?
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. I mean, there's 18 guys here, so like the chances of us, really some of us playing together, is pretty high. Obviously, it depends on what teams need and what they want to do with us. But I mean, it'd be kick-ass to be able to go in, especially with the quarterback, to a new program. program and lean on him and kind of just talk through things.
People talk about JJ, you had a run-oriented attack, and you didn't have those games where he threw a lot of passes, but is he the type of guy that if needed could certainly air it out?
Yeah, he's a stud. Plain and simply, the guy's a beast. But I think one thing that was great for him is even if we were messing up his O-line and run game on first and second down, even those early games we were winning 49-0 or whatever, 51-7, we were in third and long situations, and he was always getting us out of them, whether with his legs, scrambling, or just making some crazy throw. So he really did what he needed when we needed him to do it. We weren't really asking him to drop back a whole lot on first and 10 or second and short because we knew we could run the ball in most situations. But when we did need to throw the ball, he always got it for us.
Great. How would you characterize Trevor Keegan as an offensive lineman? What can he potentially bring to the team?
He is a character in himself. You saw that video on Barstool or whatever at the parade. But he's just a very high energy guy. He's a natural leader. He has a very that charisma to him. Guys want to follow him, including myself. They just want to be around him. But I think any team that picks him up, including any of our linemen, are going to be very happy with what they get.
Other than that video, is there anything else that you kind of remember, a funny story or anything that they kind of serious moment?
Nothing specific, but every day in the meeting room, he's a pretty funny dude. He was always saying some random comment or something about the tape. Excuse me, some of the tape or something like that. But yeah, he's just a very personality-based guy, and you gotta love him for it.
Is there any aspect of your game that needs to be improved upon while you're here at the draft?
For sure. I think I do plenty of things well, but I think on second moves and pass pro I can be a little bit cleaner. I think late in the run game on a one-on-one base block, I think I have a little bit of leakage sometimes. Guys shedding me, getting in on the tackle, even if it's a 4 or 5 yard gain. But if I can keep that, it might be 10, 15 yard gains. I think sometimes my pulls can be a little cleaner. I think those are my main three that I think I need to work on. Everyone's got things they need to work on in their game. It's always the bad plays that sit with you. So I think a lot of those plays I'm probably going off of memory, thinking about or happened in those situations where I need to get better at. But yeah, I think I always looking to get better, and got to keep going. I have not, no. Yeah, I think I would fit great. I'm a very athletic guy. I did a lot of it at Stanford, so even though we didn't run too much of it at Michigan this past year, I have a lot of time under tension with that scheme and that base. We were even running the outside zone stuff out 22 and 23 personnel stuff at Stanford. So I have a lot of experience in the outside zone stuff, and I think I'd fit great. Yeah, he was all you can ask for in a quarterback. He was not selfish. He was a guy that you want to play for, really. He was always taking us out to nice dinners as offensive line groups. Even the guys who didn't even play, he would bring them too. And I think that just creates such, not just for the whole line, but the whole team to hell yeah, we can ride with this guy. And that's exactly what we did with him. Every time he made a play for us, it just makes you want to play for him and block for him that much more. Pick him up off the ground, things like that. But he's just such a unselfish dude, and the way he carries himself and who he is as a person. Everyone kind of knows him already. He's just a very unselfish guy. But that's all you can ask for in a quarterback. I have not, no.
What's the most important thing Coach Harbaugh taught you?
I think Coach Harbaugh's number one thing was probably just to play through things. I don't necessarily he taught us that, but he definitely praised us for it. Everyone on the team this year was playing through stuff at some point. Mason had a hand injury, Junior and Mike B were playing through cast and stuff. I had ankle stuff going on. LD had some ankle stuff going on. Even Barnhart. God knows who else had issues. JJ had issues at some points during the year. We had a lot of guys playing through things, and I think that's what he harped on the most is just being tough, gritty guys, and being able to put the team first, even though you might be hurting a little bit because we'll have a couple weeks here and there to really rest you up, but when it's game time, it's time to go.
Zach, you mentioned team dinners with players. Sorry, Drake.
You're good.
I was just talking to Zach about one of his favorite lunch spots in Ann Arbor. He mentioned Demo's Deli and Donuts. Were you ever able to get out to Demo's?
I have not been to Demo's.
Well, he was talking about Blake bringing guys donuts from Demo's. Do you remember that, or was that sort of just a Blake and Zach thing? You might have to talk to him about that.
I mean, I think I remember Blake bringing donuts, but I didn't know if they were from Demo, so I probably had them.
They certainly were, and that is my father, the owner of Demo's Deli.
Really?
Just talk about the bond between the players, like in the team dinners, and he kind of brings breakfast together. What were those favorite memories?
Yeah, I think a lot of them just came from, like, even Donovan. Like, there was one, I don't remember what game it was, but it was like a Thursday morning. I just woken up, and Donovan's calling me. He's like, hey, I'm at Chick-fil-A. You want anything? I'm like, there's not a Chick-fil-A in Ann Arbor. He's like, oh, I'm ordering the one from, like, East Lansing, or I think he might have gone to the one in, like, Ypsilanti. Like, he drove, like, 15, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know which one he went to, but I was like, well, why are you getting, I didn't want to question him, but I told him I didn't want anything. But here, and he was kind of like, kind of full of shit. But then here he comes, and like, I get to the facility, and he's walking in with like 4 bags of Chick-fil-A. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, I didn't think he was like actually getting Chick-fil-A, to be honest. But, this kind of shows like what he was willing to do. Like, even a guy who didn't get a crazy amount of carries like Blake, like he was, Blake's number 2 this year. Even a guy like that, coming in, trying to give us linemen some stuff, just praising us as much as he could. So,
Drake, since we're on the topic, what is your go-to pregame meal?
My go-to pregame meal, usually like just it kind of depends on what they have at the hotel. I don't really have like a specific spot like a McDonald's or something like a lot of guys. It's usually just like what they have at the hotels, but like breaded chicken with like some baked potatoes and stuff like that. It's basic, nothing crazy.
What about a pregame song?
Yeah, what?
What about a pregame song?
Motley Crue.
Nice.